Have you ever asked yourself, why am I still stuck? Stuck in the same habits, stuck with the same income, stuck around the same people. You work hard, you try, you want more out of life, but something holds you back. It's not your skills, it's not your education, it's not even luck. It's your standards. Yes, your life right now is a reflection of what you tolerate, what you allow, what you accept as okay. Think about that. If you accept being tired every morning, if you accept being ignored, if you accept disrespect, self-doubt, and excuses, then that's the life you will keep getting. Because life doesn't give you what you wish for, it gives you what you're willing to demand from yourself. There's a quiet war going on in your mind every day between who you are and who you know you could be. And every time you settle, every time you let things slide, you let the weaker voice win. But here's the truth. Nothing in your life will change until your standards do. That's not just a catchy line, that's human psychology. We all live up or down to the level we believe we deserve. Let that sink in. If you believe deep down that you're just average, your brain will help you prove it. You'll sabotage your efforts, you'll procrastinate, you'll stay around people who keep you small because it feels normal, it feels safe. But safety isn't growth, safety isn't purpose, and it's definitely not happiness. Listen, your standards are like the thermostat of your life. If you set them low, even if things start to go well, you'll find a way to bring yourself back down. Because your inner world always pulls your outer world into alignment. But the opposite is also true. If you raise the bar, if you say no more to average effort, if you stop letting fear or people-pleasing dictate your actions, something powerful starts to happen. You stop playing small, you stop tolerating things that drain your energy. You start walking differently, talking differently, thinking differently, because now you're being led by a higher version of yourself. And here's the best part. You don't have to wait to become that version. You don't need permission. You just need to decide. Decide that you are done living at the level of your excuses. Decide that you are worth more because you are. Your mind is waiting for new instructions, and it responds not to hope but to standards. What you consistently allow is what you'll always experience. But the moment you raise your standards, the moment you say, this is no longer acceptable for my life, is the moment the world starts to shift. Your energy changes. Your decisions change. And when your decisions change, your results follow. You don't need a new year. You don't need a motivational speaker. You don't even need a miracle. You need to get brutally honest with yourself. What am I settling for? Where am I lowering the bar just to fit in or feel safe or avoid discomfort? Because comfort is not the goal. Growth is, and growth demands that you outgrow the person you used to be. That version of you that kept quiet when they should have spoken. That version that gave up halfway. That version that avoided challenges and chose distraction over discipline. That version has to go. And what replaces it is the version who leads, who walks with purpose, who communicates clearly, not just with others, but with themselves. You start telling yourself a new story. I don't accept less than I deserve. I don't wait for motivation. I create it. I don't talk like a victim. I speak like a leader. So let me ask you again, why are you still stuck? Is it life or is it your standards? Because everything, your income, your peace, your confidence, your relationships, they rise when you rise. And here's what I want to promise you. If you stay till the end of this video, you will walk away with a truth that can't be unseen. A shift in mindset so deep that once you feel it, you'll never go back to the life you once accepted. You'll learn how leaders think, how they speak, and how their standards set the tone for their entire future. Stay with me. Your life can change. It just takes one decision. Raise your standards and everything will follow. When you raise your standards, you don't just change what you want. You change what you expect. That difference is everything. Wanting a better life means nothing until you refuse to live another day without it, because life doesn't respond to your wishes. It responds to your beliefs, and your standards are simply your beliefs in action. They are the invisible boundaries you place around your behavior, what you say yes to, what you say no to, what you chase, and what you walk away from. High standards tell the world, I know who I am, I know what I deserve, I know where I'm going, And people feel that. They respond to it. They either rise to meet you or fall away. That's the silent power of your standards. They shape your confidence, your conversations, your habits, your daily choices. Every time you choose the easy way out, every time you break your own word, you weaken that standard. You teach your mind that comfort is more important than growth. But when you hold the line, even when it's hard, even when nobody claps, you send a message deep into your brain, I don't quit on myself anymore. That's where real self-respect comes from, not from achievements, but from the discipline to say, this is who I am now. I don't go backward. That decision, quiet, internal, personal, it's what separates the average from the unstoppable. You want to feel powerful again? Stop chasing motivation. Start raising your standards, because that's where your power has been hiding all along. Not in the world, not in other people, but in the level you refuse to go below. Your standards are your silent contract with your future. Sign it with discipline, and your life will never be the same. Most people don't live by high standards, not because they're lazy, not because they don't care, but because they're afraid to lose comfort, afraid to outgrow people, afraid to demand more and fail. So they settle. Settle for average days, average health, average relationships, average dreams, not because they want average, but because average feels safe. The brain is wired for survival, not success. It looks for what's familiar, not what's powerful. It protects you from risk, even when that risk is your own greatness. That's why change feels uncomfortable, not because you're broken, but because your mind is trying to keep you small enough to feel in control. And if you're not careful, you'll mistake that fear for truth. You'll start to believe this is just who I am. This is how life works. This is the best I can do. But those thoughts aren't truth. They're just habits, mental habits formed by years of choosing comfort over challenge. You weren't born to settle. You were trained to, by your surroundings, by your past, by people who gave up on their own dreams and told you to be realistic. But being realistic never changed the world. Being comfortable never built anything worth having. And here's the hardest part to accept. Nobody's coming to push you. No one is going to force you to raise your standards. That responsibility is yours. And it starts the moment you get tired of your own excuses. Because settling is not about weakness. It's about fear. And once you see that fear clearly, you can choose courage instead. You can choose to say, I don't care how hard it gets. I refuse to live below what I know is possible. That decision alone is enough to start a new life. You may not see it right away, but low standards always come with a price. And the most painful part, you don't pay it all at once. You pay it slowly, silently, day after day. You pay with your energy, dragging yourself through days that don't inspire you, feeling drained by conversations that go nowhere, feeling stuck in cycles that never change. You pay with your confidence. Each time you break a promise to yourself, your self-respect takes a hit. You stop believing in your own words, and deep down you begin to feel weak. You pay with your peace. Settling creates inner conflict because part of you knows you're made for more, and ignoring that voice doesn't silence it. It just turns it into guilt. You pay with time. Weeks, months, years, gone in routines that bring no joy, no challenge, no purpose. And time is one thing you don't get back. Low standards cost relationships too. People treat you how you train them to. If you accept disrespect, they'll keep giving it. If you stay quiet when you should speak, they'll keep talking over you. You think you're keeping the peace, but really you're just avoiding the truth. And the truth is this: every area of your life reflects what you allow. Your income reflects your work ethic. Your health reflects your choices. Your friends reflect your self-worth. So when you raise your standards, you don't just change results. You change your entire identity. But when you don't, the cost adds up. Until one day you wake up and ask, how did I get here? The answer is simple. One small compromise at a time. One lowered boundary. Or one more excuse. One more day of silence. But the good news, you can stop the cycle right now, and when you do, you'll finally stop paying the price and start collecting the reward. You become what you tolerate, not what you dream, not what you post online, but what you tolerate. That one sentence explains why so many lives feel stuck. It's not a lack of ambition. It's the habit of accepting less than what you truly want. Hill didn't just write about success. He studied it for decades. He sat with the most powerful minds of his time, and he discovered a pattern. Every successful person had one thing in common: they demanded more from themselves. They refused to tolerate laziness, excuses, or disrespect. They had standards so high they made others uncomfortable. But that's what made them leaders. You see, people don't rise to your goals. They rise or fall to your standards, and so do you. Look at your life right now. Every part of it is shaped by what you've allowed. If you've allowed delay, you're stuck in waiting. If you've allowed chaos, you're drowning in noise. If you've allowed mediocrity, you're buried under just enough. That's the quiet trap of low standards. You may not notice it at first, but over time it becomes your identity. Napoleon Hill warned us, when you keep accepting less, you slowly become someone you were never meant to be. But here's what he also believed. The mind obeys clear direction. And when you raise the bar, when you decide this is where I draw the line, your mind follows. Your body follows. Your habits follow. That's the secret no one teaches in school. You don't rise by chance. You rise by standard. Not once, not sometimes, but every day, especially when no one's watching. And when you do, you stop becoming what the world expects and start becoming who you were built to be. Changing your standards doesn't mean shouting affirmations. It doesn't mean chasing perfection or becoming someone else. It means quietly deciding enough is enough. It means drawing a line between who you've been and who you refuse to be anymore. It means waking up and saying, I don't skip my word. I don't accept disrespect. I don't settle just because it's easier. It's not about impressing others. It's about respecting yourself. Because real change starts inside, not in your results, but in your expectations. You stop negotiating with laziness. You stop giving power to doubt. You stop letting fear sit in the driver's seat. You begin to act like the person you want to become before the results ever show up. And that's the hardest part, because in the beginning, nothing around you will change, but everything within you starts to shift. Your thoughts sharpen, your voice gets stronger, your focus tightens, and slowly the world begins to respond, not because it changed, but because you did. Changing your standards means being honest with your habits, your excuses, your patterns. It's asking yourself the hard questions. Is this behavior helping me or holding me back? Am I being who I promised I'd be? It's choosing alignment over approval, discipline over delay, growth over comfort, not once in a while, but as a new way of living. Because when you change your standards, you don't just set goals. You create a new identity, one that doesn't quit, one that doesn't chase shortcuts, one that builds slowly, steadily, silently, until nothing looks the same again. This is the moment most people avoid. But this is the moment everything begins. Your life can't change until you do. And that change doesn't start with action. It starts with identity. Because no matter how hard you try, you will never rise above the person you believe you are. If you see yourself as someone who always quits, you'll keep quitting. If you believe you're not good enough, you'll keep sabotaging every opportunity. That's why most people fail. They try to change their life without changing their mindset. But identity is the root, and behavior is just the branch. Until you upgrade how you see yourself, you'll always fall back into old patterns, because deep down you're still trying to grow with the wrong self-image. Here's the truth. The brain loves certainty, even if that certainty keeps you stuck. It clings to your old self, your old story, your old definitions. So if you want a breakthrough, you have to break the story. You have to rewrite the script in your own mind. I don't skip workouts. I'm disciplined. I don't avoid responsibility. I handle it. I don't beg for love. I attract it. It's not about lying to yourself. It's about creating a new internal blueprint, one that matches the life you're building. The moment you change how you see yourself, your behavior naturally starts to align. You stop chasing motivation. You stop depending on willpower. You just do the work, because that's who you are now, and that's when the shift becomes permanent. Not forced, not temporary, but real. You go from acting like a high-standard person to becoming one That's how lasting transformation happens. Not from the outside in, but from the inside out. Your words are not just sounds, they are signals. They shape how you think, how others see you, and most importantly, how you see yourself. If you speak like a victim, you train your mind to expect defeat. If you speak like a leader, you train your mind to expect responsibility. Your language is a mirror of your standards. And most people don't even realize they're lowering their standards with their own mouth. Listen to what you say in private moments. I can't do this. This always happens to me. I'm not ready yet. Every time you say it, you're carving that belief deeper into your identity. But imagine if you flipped it. What if your words became tools of power, not excuses? What if you started saying, I'll figure it out. This won't break me. I don't shrink when it gets hard. Suddenly, your mind has new instructions. It's no longer protecting the old you, it's building the new one. The most successful people speak with clarity and conviction, not because they're faking confidence, but because they've trained themselves to expect more. They speak their vision even before it exists. They speak discipline even when it's uncomfortable. They speak boundaries even when it risks rejection. Why? Because they know the truth. Your mouth sets the tone for your mind. So speak with purpose, speak with strength. Speak as if your future depends on it, because it does. Words become thoughts, thoughts become beliefs, beliefs become identity, and identity becomes destiny. You don't need more talent. You need more truth in your language. Say what matters. Say what you're becoming. Say it until your mind stops doubting and starts believing. Without clarity, energy scatters. Your focus weakens. Your willpower drains faster than you think. When you don't know exactly what you want, your mind wanders. Your motivation fades. You feel tired without knowing why. Clarity is the fuel that powers your standards. It's the difference between wandering aimlessly and moving forward with purpose. When your standards are clear, your energy sharpens. You know what's worth fighting for and what's just noise to ignore. Think about a flashlight in a dark room. Without direction, the light spreads thin, but when you point it, the beam cuts through shadows like a knife. That's what clarity does inside you. It focuses your energy on what truly matters. When you know your standard for health, you don't waste energy on temporary diets or trends. You focus on habits that build lasting strength. When you know your standard for relationships, you don't settle for drama or games. You seek connection that nourishes your soul. When you know your standard for work, you don't let distractions steal your time. You pursue tasks that move you closer to your goals. This clarity doesn't come from daydreaming or hoping. It comes from honest reflection, from asking the tough questions. What am I willing to accept? What will I no longer tolerate? Once you answer those, your energy follows naturally. You stop feeling overwhelmed. You stop wasting willpower. You start acting not out of guilt or fear, but out of clear intention. Remember, energy without clarity is chaos. Clarity without energy is empty. Together they create unstoppable momentum, and that momentum will carry you beyond limits you once thought impossible. Change doesn't happen overnight. It's not a sudden lightning strike. It's a steady flame. Consistency is the secret bridge between high standards and real results. You don't need to be perfect. You need to be persistent. Every single day, your small choices either build your future or break it down, showing up when you don't feel like it, keeping your promises to yourself, holding the line on what you've decided. That's where real power lives. Because when you act consistent, your mind starts to trust you. Your self-belief grows stronger. You become the kind of person who finishes what they start, who doesn't quit when it gets tough, who values their own word above all else. Inconsistency tells your brain it's okay to fall back, it's okay to make exceptions, and that slowly erodes your standards. But consistency, it rewires your brain to believe, I am disciplined, I am reliable, or I am unstoppable. Remember, mountains are climbed step by step, not by giant leaps. You might not see change every day, but each day you stay consistent, you're planting seeds that will grow into something unstoppable. When doubt creeps in, when motivation fades, remember this. It's not about huge actions. It's about the daily action that honors your new standards. That is the true measure of strength. Keep going. even when no one notices, especially when no one notices, because your future self is watching and will thank you for it. Raising your standards is just the beginning. Keeping them is the real challenge. Every day you'll face pressure to lower your bar from people around you, from old habits, from your own mind whispering doubts. That's why protecting your standards must become a priority. First, guard your mind carefully. What you feed it shapes what you tolerate. If you fill your mind with negativity or excuses, your standards will crumble like sand. Choose thoughts that support your growth. Remind yourself who you are becoming. Second, set clear boundaries. Boundaries aren't walls, they're signs. They tell others what you will and won't accept. If someone crosses your line, it's not just about them, it's about protecting you. Say no when it's needed. Speak up when you feel disrespected. Stand firm even when it feels uncomfortable. Third, surround yourself with support. Your environment impacts your standards. If you're around people who settle, it's harder to hold yourself accountable. Find those who lift you higher, people who expect greatness from themselves and from you. Lastly, be honest with yourself. Check in regularly. Are you living your standards today? If not, why? Self-awareness is the shield that keeps your standards alive. Remember, every compromise chips away at your foundation. Every excuse weakens your commitment. Protect your standards like they are your most valuable possession, because they are. They define the quality of your life, the strength of your character, the size of your impact. When you protect your standards, you create a life that honors your true worth, and nothing can take that away from you. Self-respect is the foundation of high standards. Without it, your standards are just empty rules. When you respect yourself, you refuse to accept less than you deserve. You don't beg for approval or permission. You stand firm because you know your value. Self-respect is quiet but powerful. It shows up in the way you speak to yourself, in the way you treat your body, in the boundaries you set with others. People can sense it, and it changes how they treat you. When you respect yourself, you demand respect. It's not arrogance. It's a deep knowing you are worthy of your own kindness. This respect fuels your standards. It keeps you honest when temptation calls. It keeps you disciplined when shortcuts seem easier. And most importantly, it gives you the strength to walk away from situations, people, or habits that don't align with your true worth. Without self-respect, it's easy to fall back into old patterns, to lower your standards for comfort, to settle for less. But with it, you become unshakable. Your standards become non-negotiable. Every choice you make becomes an act of self-love. That's the secret weapon successful people use. They don't just chase success, they protect their self-respect fiercely. And when you do the same, you create a life filled with dignity, purpose, and unbreakable strength. Your standards aren't just rules anymore. They become a reflection of how deeply you value yourself. Change is uncomfortable. It always is. When you raise your standards, you step into new territory. And new territory feels uncertain, even scary. But here's a secret. Discomfort is a sign you're growing. It means you're stretching beyond your old limits. Most people avoid discomfort. They choose comfort over challenge, safety over progress. But comfort zones are prisons in disguise. They keep you stuck in the same place. If you want your life to change, you have to be willing to feel uncomfortable, not just once, but every day. Because growth isn't a single event. It's a process of small, uncomfortable steps. Each time you say no to a bad habit, each time you speak up for yourself, each time you choose discipline over ease, you're building a stronger, better you. Remember, discomfort is temporary, but regret lasts forever. The pain of change is the price of success, and every successful person has paid it. The key is to lean into the discomfort, to see it as proof you're alive, that you're moving forward. Don't run from it. Don't numb it. Face it. Because on the other side of discomfort, there is freedom. There is confidence. There is the life you dreamed of. So when it gets hard, remind yourself this is growth working. And growth will change everything. Your reality is not random. It's a direct reflection of your standards. Every relationship, every opportunity, every success, they all mirror what you accept in your life. If your standards are low, you'll find yourself stuck in a cycle of disappointment. If your standards are high, you'll attract quality, respect, and growth. This is not luck. It's the law of life. What you accept becomes your environment. What you tolerate becomes your identity. You might think the world is holding you back, but more often you are holding yourself back by the standards you set. When you raise your standards, you change your environment. You change your relationships. You change how you feel about yourself. Your reality shifts. This is why raising your standards is the most powerful decision you can make. It's not about what you do on the outside first. It's about what you decide inside. You change your standards. Your mindset follows. Your actions follow. And finally, your reality transforms. This process takes patience. It takes courage. It takes faith in yourself. But it works because you are not a victim of circumstances. You are the architect of your life, and your standards are the blueprint. So choose wisely, raise the bar, and watch how your world changes. One decision at a time, you've learned what it means to raise your standards. You've seen how identity, words, clarity, and consistency shape your path. Now, here's the final truth. Knowing is not enough. The last step is action, bold, unwavering action. This means no more waiting for the perfect moment. No more hoping motivation will strike. It means deciding right now to live by your new standards every day, no matter what. Because standards without action are just wishes. When you act according to your standards, you build trust with yourself. You prove to your mind that you're serious, and that trust is the foundation of unstoppable momentum. Remember, the journey won't be easy. You will face doubts, setbacks, and fears. But when your standards are your compass, you keep moving forward anyway. Every small step matters, or every choice counts. This is how you become the person you admire, not someday, but now. So take a deep breath and commit. Stand up for yourself, speak your truth, protect your energy, and keep showing up. Your life is waiting on the other side of your standards. Make the choice to cross that line today, because when you do, nothing will ever be the same again.